Hello everybody, today we are looking at a topic that you've requested a lot, and this is how to introduce yourself in English, and we're going to look at formally and informally. In both of these situations, it can be quite nerve-wracking, a little bit scary, to introduce yourself in English to groups of people, or even to one individual, as you may not feel you know the exact phrases or the right kind of answers to common questions. So we're going to be covering all of that in this lesson and helping you to feel confident that in any kind of work function or a party, you would have some key phrases up your sleeve so that you know what to say. So we're going to go through this step by step, starting with greetings. Now, formal greetings are hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. They are formal greetings. Informal is hiya, hey, how's it going? How are you doing? So those are all very, very informal ones, which you would use with people that you already know a little bit or with your own age group. So you're meeting somebody who's your own age and you feel quite relaxed. It's an informal setting. You could say, hey, how are you doing? I'm Sabrah, for example. That would be fine. In a work setting, hello, good morning, good afternoon is much more appropriate. If you're meeting someone for the first time, it's common in formal and informal situations to say nice to meet you. So let's look at formal and informal and how this works in both. I could say, hello, nice to meet you, I'm Sabrah. Informally, I could say, oh, hey, how are you doing? Nice to meet you, I'm Sabrah. So we can use it in the same way. A little bit more of an informal alternative could be good to meet you, but that is more informal. In a more formal situation, we would say nice meeting you. So it was nice meeting you or pleasure to meet you. Those are for more formal situations. Next, how to introduce your name. Now this might seem very simple, but in fact there's a difference in formal and informal situations. In formal, we would say usually my name is. You can say I'm, but I would say if you're introducing yourself at a presentation or a meeting, you should say my name is. So you might say, hello everyone, my name is John Smith. It's good to be here. Good to see you all. Something like that. Informally, we nearly always say I'm. So for example, hey, how are you doing? I'm Sabrah. So the next thing you will usually say is related to why you're there, your purpose, what you're doing at that event. So normally we might say, hey, it's nice to meet you. I'm Sabrah. I'm a friend of the host, something like that. Or it's actually my sister who's getting married, anything like that. So you might want to say why you're there. Now, if this is a work function, of course, you're going to say which department you work in, what your role is, this kind of thing. So you might say, oh, hello, it's nice to meet you. I'm John Smith. I work in the HR department. Or hello, it's good to meet you. I'm Tony Price. I'm actually from the American office. Anything like this. So you want to say your purpose for being there. Now it's difficult to look at key phrases here as the purpose for you being in an event could be very varied. But a few things you could say are I came with, I know, I'm here with, or I work in, I'm from. Any of those would work. At a kind of informal mixer, you might want to say something like this. Hi, I'm Sabrah. It's nice to meet you. I'm a friend of the host, Leila. She's a friend and colleague of mine. How do you know Leila? That might be a nice opener, a nice way to make small talk. If you're not at a work event, if you're at a social event where people don't know what you do, they might ask you the question, what do you do or what do you do for a living? And they both refer to your work, to your job. And the reply to this would be, I'm a. So we would always say, I'm a teacher, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, but we don't just stop there. In England, and I think in many Western countries, we tend to give a few more details. We say things like, I'm Sabrah, I'm a teacher, but I'm also a YouTuber as well. Can you believe that's actually a job? And we might have a little laugh. And then we might say something like, well, I actually work in international colleges, teaching international students, English and media. And then you might have a little small talk around that. And then of course you would ask the other person what they do. Some other examples might be, hi, I'm John Smith. I'm actually a banker. So yeah, I get through my days thinking about my bonuses. I work in HSBC Bank. Often we do try and introduce a little bit of humor into these conversations, but this is not necessary. But this is just something that you can expect other people may do. Now at this point, the next natural thing to talk about is where you live. So we will often give a few more details about this. We don't just say I live in London or I live in Bournemouth. We tend to give a few more details about the characteristics of the city or town or village. We might say things like how big it is, whether it's old or new, if you like it, anything that's unique about it, if it's historical, for example, things like that. Especially if you're all from different places, it's usually interesting to talk about where you live. So for example, I could say, I live in Bournemouth. It's a city which is on the coast. It has really lovely beaches and slightly warmer weather than the rest of England. It's quite new. And it has beautiful beaches, some of the best in Europe. So you could say something like this. So in a more formal setting, you could improve this slightly more. You could say, I live in Bournemouth, which is quite a large city with pristine beaches. It's a coastal city and it attracts a lot of tourism because of that. So if you're thinking about your IELTS, things like that, you remember you need to boost your vocabulary so it's a bit more advanced. So useful phrases here are my city or my town village is located in, or it's in the south or the north. It has some unique features, including, and then you would say them. It has a lot of historical buildings and a long history. The population is approximately. My town is very quaint and picturesque. Or my city is a modern metropolis with large skyscrapers. Or you could say my village is tiny, but it's very picturesque. Then you might want to say why you like or dislike where you live. So you could say, I love my village or my town because it's very tranquil and everybody knows each other. Or I love my city because it's very lively and there's a lot of culture on offer. So if you want music, restaurants, bars, there's a plethora of things to do. Lovely vocabulary, great for IELTS, great for work events if you want to sound smart and professional. Take a moment now, everyone, and think about some good adjectives for describing where you live. What would you say about it? Do you like it? How big is it? Take a moment there to think about what you would say about your city. Make some notes and write them in the comments below for me, and I promise I'll check that for you. Now, the last thing you might come to talk about is hobbies, how you like to spend your free time. So people commonly will ask, what do you do at the weekends? What do you do in your spare time? Those are common questions. Now, you don't want this to sound too boring, too out of a textbook, so I suggest you say things like, I'm really into, I'm really enthusiastic about, or I'm currently giving X a try. So for example, I'm currently giving salsa dancing a try, but I'm not all that good. I try my best, but at the moment I'm not making too much progress. You may even want to describe yourself in a certain way. For example, I'm a film buff, I'm a bookworm, I'm a science geek. Think about fun ways that you could describe who you are. So for example, I could say about myself, I'm a social media enthusiast, so you'll find me on Instagram easily, but also I'm absolutely crazy about traveling. I've absolutely got the travel bug, and I'm thinking at the moment about where I'll go next. Again, take a moment, guys. How would you introduce yourself in a creative and fun way? And please tell me about that in the comments below. When it comes to hobbies, there's not all that much difference in how we talk about them, whether it's in a formal situation or informal. Obviously, we tend to use things more like I'm keen on, I'm enthusiastic about, I'm passionate about, more for formal, and informal would be more like I'm crazy about, I'm really into. Those are perhaps a little bit more informal. But there's not that much difference. You just have to be aware that keeping your language just that little bit more professional sounding, using slightly more advanced vocabulary, is more for the workplace. Right, everybody, I'd love to see you introducing yourself to me in the comments below using these vocabulary and phrases and this structure. It'll be great for Leila and I to learn more about you, and I do hope this video has given you confidence that you could easily introduce yourself at work or in an informal setting like a party. If you like this video, please do subscribe if you haven't already, or give it a thumbs up or even share it. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.